Hey golfers, this is Coach Jamie at GOLFTEC Raffles Play Singapore. Today I want to talk about the 4 key points that all golfers should know, especially new golfers, before they head out onto the golf course. Firstly, 5 skills. So what are the 5 skills that make up golf? Second point is, what are the 3 fundamentals that we need from our golf swing so that it can be functional when we play on the course? Third point is going to be what's in our bag. Where do we use these clubs on the golf course and why do we use these golf clubs on the bag? And then lastly, course management. We need to be able to manage our golf game on the course. So if you watch this video, hopefully you'll be able to take some things and you'll be able to learn to your game, or you can come down to GOLFTEC and you can learn how to do this the right way. Hope you enjoy the video. Speak to you soon. Hey guys, this is Jamie Whenman. I'm a senior golf coach here at GOLFTEC in Raffles Place. Today I'm going to talk to you about what golf is, because sometimes at GOLFTEC we get new students that come in that don't really have an understanding of what golf is. Maybe they're doing it for work purposes, but they don't really know what they're signing up to with the golf lessons. So today I'm just going to run through basically what golf is. So today we're going to do an introduction to golf. So what is golf? Golf is a game played with the ball, and it's also played with the club. So we have a ball, we have a club, we need to get the ball into the hole. So the best players are the ones that get the ball into the hole in the least amount of shots. So depending on where you're playing, the holes can be different distances. So typically what a hole would look like is you have like a starting position, you would have a starting position, and then you have an end position. So you're trying to get the ball from the starting position into the hole. Depending on the golf course, the holes are going to be different distances every time. So you can sometimes have a really short hole, other ones you can have quite far. But as I said, the best players are the ones that get the ball into the hole in the least amount of shots. So usually how we mark our progress or our score, we use a scorecard. So we count every shot that the ball goes, by the time the ball goes into the hole, we add up our score, and then the lowest one is the one that wins basically. Usually most golfers try to take lessons or get lessons because they want to reduce their score when they play on the golf course. So what are the areas that we have that make up golf? So there's 5 skills that make up golf. So the first one really is the putting. So this is kind of like the end game. So this is when the ball is on the putting green. We usually would use a putter, to get the ball into the hole. So it's not a very big swing. So putting is when you're very close to the hole and you're trying to get the ball into the hole. It's a very small swing. So it's when the ball is quite close to the hole. So if we were to use kind of like a clock face, if this is the golfer standing, I always like to imagine that, the swing, it's almost like a clock. So this isn't my best drawing, but you'll get the idea. So for putting, when we look at like the swing, we're probably only going to be going back maybe like 7 to 5. It's a very, very small swing. So when we talk about what the skill is here, for putting, it's going to be like a kind of a 7 to 5 swing. It's a very small swing. And we're trying to get the ball into the hole. The second skill, what we look at in golf is chipping, right? So basically, when the ball is off the putting green, what we're trying to do is we're trying to get the ball back onto the green and get it as close as we can to the hole. So that's the second skill in golf, which is chipping. Usually the clubs that you use for that, you wouldn't use a putter. Sometimes when you're off the green, you can use putter. But, you would be using like a 9-iron, pitching wedge, a sand wedge. If you're unsure on those clubs, if we come over and we look at the bag, basically the bag, when you get a full set of golf clubs, The clubs look a bit different. Sometimes, again, being a new golfer, you're not actually going to be, you're not going to know what golf clubs, what all the golf clubs are made to do. You know, you've got a club like this, which is the driver, which we'll get into, and you've got a club like this, which is called the sand wedge. So when you look at the two different clubs, the designs are very different. So every club that you have in the bag has a different purpose, and you would use it at a different skill. So when you're using this club, it's got a little bit more loft, which basically gets the ball up in the air, and it doesn't go as far as like the driver. So this driver is the longest, the S is the shortest, and then you've got clubs in between. So when you look at the chipping, you're going to be using more lofted clubs. Again, it's not going to be a very big swing. You know, you're going to be looking at probably, again, like a 7-5 swing, or even like an 8-4 swing. So it's not a very big swing, okay? But and you're also not going to be using the power clubs. You're going to be using like an S, maybe a pitching wedge, a 9-iron, 8-iron, or even a 7-iron for chipping. So you got to pick the right club when you're in the certain position on the golf course, right? So that's the second skill. The third skill is what I would do. Third and fourth skill are very similar. You've got pitching. So pitching for me is when it gets to about 30 meters from the hole. So say my golf ball is there and I've got 30 meters. My pitching technique starts at 30 meters and it ends at 70 meters. What is pitching? Well, pitching is when you can't quite do a full swing, because if I do a full swing with my most kind of angled club, the ball will go too far. So it's more of a 3/4 swing. So pitching is when you can't quite do a full swing, but it's too far away for you to do like a little chipping swing. So when we do pitching, you know, again, I like to use this just as a very simple way to explain the swing. It's more of a 9-3 swing for pitching, or like a 10-2 swing. And we have clubs in the bag that are designed to use with this technique. So we would use our pitching wedge, our sand wedge, even like a lob wedge. So our most lofted clubs. Now what the ball will typically do with that type of technique is it will go high, it will land on the green and stop pretty quickly. So usually we would pitch if we have to go over something, or if we're too far away to chip, basically. So that's pitching. The fourth skill is bunkers. So bunkers is basically like when there's sand, or there's sand on the golf course. You may have like seen it sometimes if you've ever been near a golf course. Usually there's like a sand pit, you know, kind of to the side of the green. Sometimes like on the fairway as well, like near the fairway, you'll get a bunker. Typically with bunkers, you know, you have to get the ball going high and landing back out onto the green like this. And usually what we would be doing again is like a 9-3 swing or a 10-2 swing with a sand wedge, or maybe even like a lob wedge, to get the ball up and out of the bunker, so we can hopefully get the ball as close as we can to the hole. And then the fifth skill, which most golfers know about, and most golfers will practice this skill because it's the one that, you know, you start with, you know, on every hole. Usually you're going to be doing a full swing. It's the full swing. That's the fifth skill. So when you look at full swing, you know, you'll be using basically every golf club in the bag for full swing, apart from the putter. So you can do full swing with every club. Now, typically our job as golf coaches is to get you like a robot, right? So you do exactly the same swing consistently every time, and then you pick the club which is best for the yardage when you play on the course. So, for example, we have 14. Usually, we have 14 clubs in the bag. So if we start with like putter, obviously we're not going to use that. Normally we'd have a lob wedge, sand wedge, pitching wedge, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, and then we'd probably have like a 3-wood and a driver like that. So in an ideal world, like we would hit this one sort of like 80 meters, this one 90 meters if we do the same swing, 100, 110, 120, 130, 140, 150, 160. These may go like a little bit longer, and 200. So we wouldn't change necessarily the swing. We would have the same swing, but the golf club will go a different distance, because what we need to be able to do when we play on the golf course is control distance, because what makes these holes different, depending on what one you play, is going to be the distance. Sometimes you start with a par 5, and that can be sort of like 500 meters away. All right. Sometimes you'll start on a par 4, and that could be sort of 350 meters away from where the hole is. And then there's going to be other golf courses where you may even start on a par 3, and it could be like 100 meters. So depending on the hole that you play, depending on the distance, kind of what club you're going to pick. So let's say you've had golf lessons and you're consistently hitting these numbers every time. If we start with, say, like a par 4, 350 meters, if we know that our driver goes 200 meters consistently, we know that if we hit the ball and it goes kind of onto the fairway, we're probably going to have 150 meters left, because we've hit it 200 meters. The hole is 350. So we're left with 150 meters. So we know that it's probably going to be like a 5-iron or a 6-iron, right? So, because we know how far our clubs are going. So usually when you play on the golf course, there's always hazards. There's trees, down the sides of where you want to put it. This would be kind of like the fairway here, where we're trying to put the ball into the fairway. Could be trees. There could also be, water. A lot of golf courses in Singapore have water, down the side. So, our goal is to be able to avoid the hazards so that we can keep our ball in play and are able to score, So basically that's golf. We've got 5 skills that make up golf. Usually when we play like 9 holes or 18 holes. When you play like the different holes, they're going to be like different distances. And depending on where you are on the golf course, you're going to need to pick the right club, make the right decision, play the right technique for the shot that you've got, so that you can score the best, right? When you're out there and you're on the course. So obviously, not every time, you're going to be able to hit good shots when you're on the golf course. Sometimes you're going to hit bad shots when you play on the course. But if it's important that really to do 3 things well with your golf swing. The first thing that we really want to be able to do well is we want to be able to control contact, right? So if we're playing on the golf course, controlling contact is like a must. If we don't control contact, then we're going to have a very kind of inconsistent round, right? So what is controlling contact? Well, for me, controlling contact is, hitting the center of the golf club and hit the ball first. All right. So when you look at, the golf ball and the club, these clubs are designed to kind of hit the center of the golf club here. If we're hitting it kind of in this part of the golf club, this part of the golf club, low or high on the face. It's very, very unpredictable when the ball leaves the face. So we want to make sure that we're hitting the ball in here. The great thing is at GOLFTEC is we've got a lot of great technology that we're able to understand and measure where you're hitting the ball in the face. So always the first fundamental when we play golf, what we want from our golf swing, the first fundamental is make sure that we control contact. So hit the center of the golf club, and we also want to make sure that we hit the ball first. We don't want to hit the ground first. So if we control that, we've got a very, very good chance of playing good golf. So we want to make sure that we're, say, hitting the ball in the center of the golf club every time, and hitting the ball first, and then the ground second every time. So, if you're taking golf lessons, if you don't know this, you need to find out where you're hitting the ball on the face, where you're hitting the ground. Are you hitting it before or after? Because if you're not doing these two things, you need to get that right if you want to play well on the golf course and consistent on the golf course. So that's the first thing. The second thing, what the best players do as well when they're playing on the golf course, they're able to control direction. Or curve. Always say curve. So whenever we're trying to play golf, typically we're not trying to hit straight shots. Some golf coaches out there may disagree with me, but that's for a debate, okay? But for me, if I'm trying to hit the ball straight, that means I've got to have my club path very straight. So my swing direction has to be straight. I have to aim the club very straight when I hit the ball. I have to hit the ball in the middle of the golf club. It's very difficult to do that. Problem is, you don't have much room for error. So if your club is aiming a little bit right, the ball's going to curve to the right. If it's a little bit left, the ball's going to kind of curve left. So there's nothing worse standing on this tee box where you're trying to hit the ball into the green, and the ball's going to curve right and it's also curving left. We don't have an understanding of maybe one, why it's doing that, or two, we don't have control of our curve. So when you're playing on the course, you're going to struggle to be able to keep that ball in play and commit to the shot, right? So for me, I want to be able to see all my students curve the ball consistently left to right or consistently right to left. I really don't care, but the curve has to be consistent. Why do we want the curve to be consistently coming back to the target? Well, it means proximity. It's going to get better and closer every time. If we've got the ball curving away from the target to the right and to the left, it's always getting further and further away from the target. So we always want that ball to curve back to the target, whether it's right to left or whether it's left to right. It also means that when we're on the golf course, we're able then to be we're then able to manage what our golf swing is doing and what our ball is doing when we play on the course. So if we are hitting from this position, and there's the hole, and just say it's 400 meters, if, say, for example, I know my ball is consistently kind of either going off to the right here, and then it kind of comes back like this, this is what's happening with my shot shape. I know that if I aim down the middle of the fairway here and I did that, I'm probably going to go into the water, right? So instead of aiming down the middle of the fairway, what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to aim down the right side of the fairway, okay, and then I'm going to try and curve my ball back into either the middle or the fairway. If I over curve it and I hit a bad swing or I put a bad swing, I'm not in the water, I'm in trouble. If I hit a good shot, it's going to come back, or my most consistent shot, which is a curve to the middle of the fairway. And if I just so happen to hit it pretty straight, I'm still in a pretty good position on the golf course. So, I'm keeping the ball out of the water, and I'm keeping the ball out of trouble. So I want to be able to consistently curve the ball to the left, right to left for me. That's a draw. other golfers, you know, may curve the ball left to right, but if you're consistently curving the ball, whether it's to the right or whether it's to the left, you're able to manage that much easier on the golf course. So for me, my game plan whenever I play on the golf course, because I know my ball's going to curve back to the left, is aim down the right side, trust that my ball's going to come back to the left. I've got a good idea how far my clubs go. So when I know I've got a yardage that is my 7-iron, usually I'm going to aim right at the flag, curve the ball back into the flag. And if I just so happen to hit it straight, I'm still hitting the green. If I over curve it, I've allowed for that when I play. So that's the second thing that the best players do, is that they control the curvature on the ball. And then the third thing basically that we want to be able to do with our golf swing is we want to be able to control distance, because golf is a game of distance. So whenever you play on the golf course, you're always going to have different distances. So, and whenever you play, depending on how far the hole is, you're going to need to know how far your golf clubs go. You're going to need to obviously control contact, and you're able to try and do the same swing over and over again so that you can consistently hit that number every time, that distance. So that's the three things that we look for at GOLFTEC in order for you to have a functional golf swing that you can take onto the golf course. So if you want to get into golf, you need to first know what golf is. Well, say golf is a game of lowest score wins. We're trying to get the ball into the hole in the least amount of shots. We have 5 skills that make up golf, which are these 5 things. So we got the putting, the chipping, pitching, bunkers, full swing. Again, the technique is different for every individual skill. You're going to use a different club. You're going to have a different swing. But with the swing, we need to make sure that we're controlling the contact. We need to make sure that we're controlling curvature on the ball, and we're controlling distance. Because if you're able to do those 3 things well, you're able to play well on the golf course. If you want to get better at golf, I suggest you get golf lessons, so that you're able to work on the different skills, and be consistent at controlling your contact, your curvature, and your distance. And then, if you're able to do that in a golf environment, whether it's indoor or outdoor on the driving range, then you can then trust it when you play out on the golf course. Come to GOLFTEC if you would like some golf lessons to learn the 5 different skills that make up golf. These are the 3 things that you really need to do well to play golf well. You've got a set of golf clubs here as well that are able to basically do all of the shots that are required to play on the golf course. But I really think new golfers learn the right way, learn the right fundamentals, learn the different skills, and at some point you'll be ready to get out onto the golf course. And as I said, at GOLFTEC, we're able to kind of go through these 3 things. Normally what I try to do is I try to get my students to play well indoors, so we have an indoor simulation game where we play 9 holes, see how they get on, and then once I feel they're up to speed and they can get to the green in the least amount of shots, like 2 or 3 shots on a par 4, 1 or 2 shots on a par 3, or 3 or 4 shots on a par 5, then I know that they're ready then to get out onto the golf course and play. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you've got any questions, comment down in the caption below, and I hope to see you all at GOLFTEC very soon.